I'm Isabella Pappas from the Villains of Valley View,
And you're watching Disney Channel. Oops.
I was looking at that kid over there on the hoodie. He seemed lonely.
And weird. Which probably explains the lonely part.
Maybe I should go over and say hi.
Oh, right, because when I see someone clearly trying to avoid people, my first instinct is to always go and say hi.
Well, maybe they're shy. Like you when you first moved here.
I was not shy. I was standoffish and hostile. There's a difference.
I'm going over to introduce myself. You can come or not.
I choose not.
You're coming.
Okay, then why even give me a choice?
Hi there. We wanted to welcome you to Valley View. I'm Hartley.
See? I told you. Just leave them alone. Sorry to bother you.
Amy. Wait.
Starling?
What the hell? What the hell? I got nothing else to say. Just what the hell? You be the judge.
Starling, what are you doing here?
She came to celebrate Earth Day. Yep, she loves the environment. That is why we are both dressed like native plants.
You're not dressed like a plant.
Ow. I'm a cactus.
No offense, but your credibility was shot the moment you said sneezing sneaker bush.
This is useless. We should just tell him the truth. Jake, I'm here because
I wanted to talk. Yeah, I felt so bad about ruining your first date at the junkyard that I wanted to apologize to her because we are friends now.
See, this is some bullshit right here. This is some bullshit. Straight up bullshit. Straight up bullshit. Because this motherfucker, that being Jake, knows that, you know, Billy Badass and Hartley and even Judith Starling, as she reveals her full name to be, are fucking hiding shit. But I can't take too much of this grade A horse shit anymore. Let's move on to the next fucking episode, please.
Hi, I'm Kate Amelia Jensen from the Villains of Valley View, and you're watching Disney Channel. I did that.
Looks like I spoke too soon. Apparently we have one more performance.
that's my girl. What? No, you can't let them sing.
Please welcome to the stage. Happiness of death.
This one's for all the haters, especially the one in the pink dress at table number 3. You can try to bring us down, but guess what? We don't care. Time to finish this off with a bang.
And with that being said, as Mike Skinner would say, and it's nothing against the real Giselle Torres, she's an absolute sweetheart in real life. Jem, on the other hand, can go jump off a fucking bridge. Yeah, God damn it, we beat that little son of a bitch. Ladies and gentlemen, Isabella Pappas, Kaden Milliensen, however the fuck you say your name, Giselle Torres, and Angelica Torres, Giselle's mom. Happy birthday, Angelica. That's what I call doing the Mike Skinner. If you don't know what that shit is, look up 1998 NASCAR Thunder Special. Twin ring Motegi, Suzuka City, Japan. The only races that like Mike Skinner won, that would except those were fucking exhibition races. The best driver to never win a points-paying NASCAR Winston Cup race. So I wanted to start off the video in exciting fashion, but with that banger intro and a little happy birthday to Mariah Iman Wilson, aka Judith Starling, and the mother of Giselle Torres, who's probably only going to see this on Instagram and probably. I mean, Joe's going to see it on Instagram and TikTok, but Angelica, I'm going to say happiest birthdays to you. Giselle, I know you probably don't go on Facebook much, but I did add you as a friend. Now, this time, before I go over the episode, I'm going to come up with the birthday song for Angelica and Mariah. I just got to think of something, so please stand by. Your mics are hot. Okay, I think I got something. Why? Mariah Iman Wilson and Angelica Torres of the Villains of Valley View Gang Crew celebrating birthdays. Mariah plays Starling. Angelica's daughter plays the mean Jem. Happiest birthdays to you two. Amazing sweet ladies. Giselle's a far cry from Jem. Mariah with Starling too. Time is precious and it's slipping away for the first season of Valley View. Mariah Wilson and Angelica Torres, happiest birthday to you, ladies. I will give Mariah, Angelica, Giselle, and Kaden and Isabella, let me think of a number here. Let me think of a good number. I will give you, oh my God, what the fuck? I'm trying to think of something cool that can get Angelica to know me. I can get Angelica to know me. I can get Giselle to know me better. Guys, I'm trying to think of something. Oh, I'll give you 45 extra points for one of my all-time favorite NASCAR drivers, Kyle Petty, if you can figure out the melody of that song. I think Isabella might know it a little bit, but because she's chatted it up with me, and I've talked to her about stuff like this, but I doubt that the rest of you know it, or as in Isabella might know it, as in the performer, but oh my God. My grandfather's cars got fucked up over here. Look at this. Smoke it like Tony Stewart. This is exactly why Stewart left Joe Gibbs. He did not want to drive Toyota in his driving career because he was loyal to General Motors. Where the fuck oh, well, we're going to have to fix this later. Who gives a shit? But anyway, we just accomplished the Michael Waltrip and Greg Booty Biffle installments of Villains of Valley View. Two episodes as part of the Disney Channel quadruple doubleheader. As you saw in my TikTok post that Havoc herself commented, "Let's all go to Victory Lane." And that's exactly what Zane Smith did tonight in the Craftsman Truck Series race. Not only won the Chevy Silverado 150, but became a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion. And let me show you guys something. Okay, Isabella, Kaden, Angelica, Mariah, and especially Giselle, considering she's played a major part, in me loving the show besides from Isabella. It'll go well with this son of a bitch. Let me get a better view. The MIS no fans race win, I guess. The only year me and my dad couldn't go to Michigan International Speedway because of damn COVID and there was no fans allowed in the stands at the time. And the one time I can't go to the race because of that shit. Drivers I like actually winning the races there, because whenever I go to MIS, my drivers don't win shit. But before I get into the episode, I know Giselle, Angelica, you weren't within my life at the time when the show premiered, but I was telling Isabella, Kate, and the rest of the cast that knew me at the time that part of me growing up in 28, about to be 29 years, is how my life in sports as a NASCAR and basketball fan did a complete 180 on me. In basketball, my favorite team is the San Antonio Spurs from San Antonio, Texas. Best known for, David Robinson before I existed, Tim Duncan when around the time I was born, and Robinson was at the end of his career. He was known as the Admiral, had buff biceps, and was there to the Naval Academy. Drafted in 1987, but didn't play till 1989 because of his naval commitment. And then Spurs had a shitty season in 96, 97 with him and Sean Elliott getting shelved with injury, along with the Chuck Person and some nobody named Charles Smith, which hurt us, what also helped us in the summer. We got the number 1 draft pick in the draft lottery. Tim Duncan was selected at number 1, and that's why, Duncan was able to make that team as great as it was for 19 years that he was there. So almost all my life I've been around. The Spurs have always been a hell of a team, contending for winning games, contending for championships, winning championships, competing for playoff berths and final spots, kicking everybody's ass even when they come up empty-handed. You see, during those days, my favorite drivers were not all that great. After I lost a Hall of Fame driver, which I'm going to show you right here. I know Isabella and Kaden already know this about me, but this is morally dedicated to Giselle and Angelica. Dale Earnhardt Sr., that's the driver I first picked. He was the 3 before Austin Dillon was. So I picked him when I started watching in 01, but then he was killed in the first race I watched. I didn't even watch the fatal crashes that happened live, which was he just took a smack of the wall that caused instant death because, open face helmet, no Hans device, which was optional at the time, became mandatory because of it. So after Dale Sr. died, while the Spurs were waxing that ass, David Robinson, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and then later Manu and Tony came along, and, they were just championship playoff contenders, finals contenders, all that, while Kyle Petty and Juan Montoya, the drivers Montoya was my favorite after Kyle Petty. He was more of an open wheel guy that tried NASCAR. It just didn't work out for him, so he went back to what he's used to, his style of racing. So when Spurs were kicking waxing that ass, Kyle Petty and Juan Pablo were tearing up equipment, running in the middle of the pack, or finishing 30th or worse multiple laps down every week. Being a fan of those two, especially at the same time in 2007, was ultra frustrating. Considering especially JPM, running decent and looked like he was going to get a top 5 at times. Either, got caught up in someone else's bullshit, the pit crew let him down, or late race mistake. The one that really pissed me off when I was 15, 2009 Brickyard 400. 15-year-old me was sitting in the living room of the Lenore house in Michigan on the couch in front of my mom and dad. I'm going all crazy. I thought we had that race won, being a Montoya fan at the time. I had my living room ready to celebrate. Then came the last pit stop. It was his race to win if he didn't fuck it up. I mean, he had a good pit stop, but here's the problem. Too fast entering, passed through, lost in the race, finished 11. But that's not where I have a problem. The real problem is, at the time, there was this guy named Jimmy Johnson who signed on to be a part owner of my childhood team. That's not RCR. The Petties, to be a co-owner. Well, I got sick of him winning all the fucking time with, winning 5 championships in a row and winning too many races. And that was one of the races he won. So that just had a feel to the fire. Once he crossed the line, took the check of light, I just shut off the TV, stormed my room, and shut the door. And oh my God, I sat there and fucking pouted. That's how angry I was. That was the closest I've ever seen Montoya winning a race legitimately on an oval from from flag to flag straight up on speed. So, and then 2010 was, Brian Patty's questionable pit strategy. 2013 was a late race caution in the first Richmond race when he had it won. And then when Jimmy got penalized for a restart violation on the last restart at Dover, then, Montoya had the race won there, but, Tony Stewart had a faster car and he passed him with 2 laps to go. So, but the most frustrating years as a Montoya fan was 2008 and 2011. Had a good car, good cars, had a chance at top 5, top 10 finishes, always got caught up in someone else's bullshit. 2011, he was off to a great start, but then got into those skirmishes with Ryan Newman, who I more associate with the 12 and Roger Penske at Talladega and Richmond. But yeah, but that's when the Spurs were kicking everyone's ass, when, those two were around. I mean, the only good thing Cal Petty did for me, considering he won his races with other teams when I didn't exist or was just a baby. Well, it's good thing he did with the Petty team when I was rooting for him. Finished third in the Coke 600, which came down to underdogs and fuel mileage because all the contenders either wiped out in crashes or got blown up with mechanical failures. So people like 2017, it was like us, Cal Petty, J.J. Yaley, who I still don't like after, Joe Gibbs favored him over by screwing him over Bobby Labonte the year before. Casey Mears, Reed Sorensen, Brian Vickers, Jeremy Mayfield. People like that had a shot to win with all the contenders that normally run up front every week, all in the garage blown up or fucking destroyed with crash damage. And Kyle Petty got a third. I mean, and the first and second place finishers, Mears and Yaley, ran out on the cooldown lap while Kyle had a few gallons left. So if the race was 401 laps instead of 400, your 2007 Coke 600 winner is yours truly, Kyle fucking Petty. Either way, he got interviewed for that third place finish. 13-year-old me started crying happy tears like, he won the damn race. I mean, he didn't, but that third place finish felt so refreshing after having so many frustrating times and races being a fan of his. Like, man. But as soon as they all Kyle retired and Montoya left to go back to what he's used to, the Dillon brothers, Austin and Ty, came along. So in 2014 and later 2017. And then by 17 and 8 and onward, I started finding other drivers outside of them to root for. And now all of a sudden, with them, Zane, people like Austin, Zane Smith, Noah Gregson, John Hunter Nemechek, and even Daniel Hemrick, those fellas are little by little winning races and championships, or even contending for championships if they're not winning them. Something Montoya and Petty never did for me. And while those guys are doing good now, drivers I like are doing that. The Spurs aren't any good anymore, and they just lost another fucking game tonight, which is part of why I canceled my league pass subscription. I knew not to be fooled by that good start because we all know what's going to happen based on the trend and pattern. But anyway, I just wanted to, give a little, life education to Giselle and her mom, Angelica, even though you're probably not going to see the whole thing on Instagram. So you're probably going to see it on YouTube, is why I highly recommend it. And then Angelica and Giselle can DM me on Instagram and let me know, tell me what they thought of it. But yeah, that's basically how Giselle and Angelica to get to know me. NASCAR fan, Spurs fan, and that birthday song I did for you and your mom, I did for your mom and Mariah, I'll give you a hint. It's something that I'm best known for outside of NASCAR and the Spurs. I mean, I'm not telling you, but Isabella can if she wants to, because I talked to her about it. But anyway, let's go over the episode. I started off this fucking video off topic. So let's start off with the Michael Waltrip installment. That motherfucker, Bad Jake. So he turned out to be an ally in the end. I did not expect that. Now here I thought the Bad Jake was there in the beginning with, when he was at the little shop where Jem normally sings her songs that we'll get to in a little while. So here first, I didn't even know it was Starling that was, the hood person. And so, she really wanted to go back, to her superhero world, but, Amy and Hartley convinced her to stay, as long as, until you found it was safe for you to get out and go back, as long as Jake didn't see you. And as you saw in my show, when Jake came along, the real one, not the bad motherfucker, I already knew that Amy and Hartley were hiding shit from Jake, so therefore they were trying to tell the truth, and they continued to hide shit by saying that, Amy and Hartley made some shit up like Jamie McMurray by saying, we wanted to apologize for fucking things up for you in the first time, so we're gonna make the shit up to you by letting you do what you should have fucking done the last goddamn time. I mean, they didn't say it like that, but that's how they fucking meant it. But, so they went on that first date and it fucking near backfired, so I'll tell you how it happened. Captain Valor, who we met for the first time tonight, called, FaceTimed, Starling, who was hiding shit herself from Jake. We saw the teaser commercial, we saw this scene in the teaser, but, I really thought there was going to be something more serious, but then, the real Jake and, Starling came back to tell everybody tell Billy Badass and Hartley how, Starling, Jake founded everything, and they had to come up with the plan. Now, here's where the subplot comes in. So, the bad motherfucker I knew he was gonna come. I had this feeling he would come back after the first time where he just walked, but he didn't get, Vic didn't get a chance to vaporize his ass, so, because he just let him walk out because his dumbass forgot to tell Eva that, that he escaped and shit after his dumbass let him walk and largely arrested him, and when he tried to finish him off, he forgot the handcuffs were there to break him free, and then Karma came back and bit him in the ass. The bad motherfucker shrunk him and his wife. So, luckily he wasn't able to get Colby, and Colby, did fought the good fight, kicked his ass, won, and they swapped, bad motherfucker out with the real Jake, and I love how Captain Valor, thought it was the real Jake, and at least now we know the real Jake is never going to be seen again. At least we hope not. I hope this comment will age well. And if it doesn't, I'm going to be kicking myself. I think Colby should as well. But anyway, now let's talk about the Greg Booty Biffle installment. Alright, the Greg Booty Biffle installment involves the birthday girl's daughter. Okay, so the other birthday girl. We talked about the other birthday girl's Time in the Sun and the Michael Waltrip installment. Now the Booty Biffle installment with the other birthday girl's daughter. So Jem, as much as I love Giselle Torres, that little bitch Jem was up to her no good tricks again. Like I said, I don't have anything against the real Giselle Torres. I would not call the real Giselle Torres this in real life because I have the utmost love and respect for her, and I hope to really meet her one day. Jem, on the other hand, can go drink bleach as far as I'm fucking concerned. So, therefore, I just hate the way she treats Amy and Hartley, especially Amy, to the point where, she tries to get in her mind, and then, I know Eva was trying to protect them from, singing a villain song, and they tried to sing it anyway, but then Jem stole that shit, because that's a very fucking Jem thing to goddamn do. And so, Amy realized her mom was right, even though she's a Billy Badass and wanted to go against her mom's orders anyway. But, Eva should have worded that better. Like, I don't want you to sing that song, but you could still sing in general. And that's how we came up with that banger, We Don't Care. And we did that, and how we came up with, doing the Mike Skinner to Jem with, yeah, goddammit, we beat that little son of a bitch. So, that's what happened. So, that was something that'll, dedicate, Billy Badass and Hartley dedicated to those fucking haters. So, yeah. So, I thought about it, but no. It's Giselle's mom's birthday. Who gives a shit? I'm not going to throw obscene gestures just because her daughter plays a bitch on TV. Like the character, not the real person. Just because they act like that on the show doesn't mean they act like that in real life. Giselle Torres, I can tell, is pretty sweet in real life. So I hope you understand that, ladies. I hope you understand I'm not talking about Giselle that way. I'm talking about Jem that way, because it's not fucking wrong. Now let's get to the good part with the subplot. This was fucking funny. So, when Celia and Robbie took their vacation to wherever the fuck they were going, I don't know if it was the Bahamas or Hawaii or some shit, but anyway, those delivery chairs that, Celia ordered, you know, of course, Vic is always scheming like Keenan did in Keenan and Kel. And so wanted to keep the chance for himself. And so he was using them to screw around with Jake and Colby. They were just sitting there just fucking around and shit, not doing a goddamn thing until they decided to turn it into the Cedar Point DEI simulator, aka the bumper cars, where we sing Limp Bizkit's Rollin' as our bumper car theme song. Yeah, Giselle, I just wanted to warn you like Ward Burton, another well-known fact about me. I have theme songs for certain activities. I do. I used to have a shitload of them, but then I took away most of them to keep the simple ones. Like for the swing sets, I do Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf and Hinder or Hinder, but I like to say Hinder to piss people off intentionally and get them hyper for no fucking reason. I do the bumper cars Rollin' by Limp Bizkit, Go-Karts and Sideways by Derek's Bentley. But I wanted to save my favorite one for last, which I've been doing since I was 17 years old in high school. When I chase people around, especially if they take something that belongs to me, like my phone, which I'm using to record this, or a Coke bottle that I'm drinking, and they try to be sneaky, or take a hat that belongs to me. Anything that belongs to me in general, and they don't give it back when I ask them to, I have to fucking chase them to get it. So that's when I start singing my theme song for chasing people. Headstrong by Trapped, aka the Robbie Gordon song. If you don't know what that means, yeah. Not only do I have activity theme songs, I also have song nicknames. My nickname for that song for the Headstrong by Trapped is the Robbie Gordon song. And there's a story behind every song nickname. Because I called the Headstrong the Robbie Gordon song because in the 2003 Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at Richmond, which I still call the Monte Carlo 400, even though it's also Chevy. Because in 01 and 02, when Monte Carlos did it, when the Monte Carlo brand sponsorship did it, it was the Looney Tunes. And it was really, that race used to be prestigious with their sponsorship of the event. And then when Rock and Roll took over from Monte Carlo, where it kept keeping the Chevy name, that was the most prestigious run of first annual race under that name, where almost half the Chevy drivers had rock bands that were big at the time. Or rock artists that were big at the time as well. In 2003, I would have been 9 years old at the time. And on the 31 car, Robbie Gordon, the singular wireless Chevrolet Monte Carlo for Richard Childress Racing that Mike Skinner used to drive with the Lowe's sponsorship before, going to Morgan McLaurin in the 4 car, the Kodak Chevrolet, where Lowe's went to be with the 48 of Johnson that became a 7-time champion all these years later. Well, when Robbie Gordon was in the 31, the singular wireless Chevrolet Monte Carlo for Richard Childress Racing. So he was one of the participants of the rock and roll Chevy sponsorship with Rock Band, and he had probably one of the biggest rock bands of that era on that car, Trapped. And Trapped even sung that song before the race, during the pre-race when they started Discover Car Countdown to Green on the TNT broadcast. And when the Chevy drivers that had the sponsor rock band sponsorships on the car, describing their band they're representing. When Robbie was doing his, they were doing in numerical order. When Robbie was doing his, they were playing Headstrong. And then right after that, they were playing like a compilation of past Richmond moments up to that race with that song. So that's why I called it the Robbie Gordon song, and at one point called it the Richmond International Raceway song, back when Richmond was a good track, but until they fucking lost its excitement after the 2016 Monte Carlo 400 fall race. So there's no beating and banging no more, none of that shit. So yeah, that's part of getting to know me. So, but anyway, the bumper cars, bumper chairs, which will look like the DEI simulator at Cedar Point. When I pretended I was Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. with this one kid in the bumper cars with the 8 and the 15s, and someone took the 3 already. So I was like, I wasn't even trying to bump anybody. I was actually pretending to draft him like I was at Daytona and Talladega with Mikey and Dale Jr. And so, but that's not what, Jake and Colby and Vic did. Hell no. They were trying to bump each other like they were using the bumper car that it's supposed to be for, not as a NASCAR simulator for a race team that doesn't exist anymore. But considering their car owner died in the first year, they were legit with Michael Waltrip, Dale Jr., and Steve Park. So, Vic took a beating, Jake took a beating, and That's what they get for trying to throw Colby off his game. You mess with the cow, you get the udders, as Rob Riggle said on Victorious over in the Nickelodeon universe. But all in all, this was some pure fucking comedy tonight. It's good to see Jem back, even though she's a fucking bitch. But I love Giselle Torres with my whole heart in real life. Happiest of birthdays, Angelica Torres. And happiest of birthdays, Mariah Iman Wilson. So I'm going to edit and upload this and get set to, like Jimmy Johnson, the new Noah Gregson's new boss, to watch where did we leave off on Ultra? We're gonna be doing the Larry Flight and Michael Waltrip installment, and this Friday will be the Greg Booty Biffle installment for the season 1 finale. So lots of big things coming up, but we're not done yet. So I will catch you all in a little while when we do Ultraviolet Black Scorpion for the Larry Foyt and Michael Waltrip installments. Here's a small bonus clip for shits and giggles.
I told you the trail of garden gnomes would help us capture Bad Jake. He just couldn't resist.
All I had to do was spend $500 at Gnome Depot.
And by Gnome Depot was that motherfucker driving an orange Pontiac Grand Prix with the number 20 all over it, owned by Joe Gibbs.
That's the worst race car I've ever driven in my life right there. That thing was a piece of
Okay. Frustrated it is for Tony Stewart.